Excellent. Well, let's kick off. As say, for those that are joining, there should be some poll questions popping up in front of you that you can answer as I start to kick off the session. Today's session is all about the Payday Super and what's coming into the software and what does that mean for you as a business. I will just sort of put a caveat though I'll put a caveat just at the beginning. Obviously, we're providing this as advice to how you should use the software and the system itself. If you need to understand any of the proper, the implications from a payroll point of view, we probably suggest that you reach out to your maybe like a payroll company that you get your advice from, or from your accountant as such as how you should be dealing and paying those items. But today's session is more practical around that Payday Super. So I guess just to give you a bit of a heads up, what's happening is that obviously there's 3 major changes that are coming out as of 1st of July. The first is the frequency that we pay super at the moment. So obviously PaySuper has been around for a long time, and we've either had the enjoyment of being able to do that monthly for cash flow benefits, or we may be doing it quarterly as and when we're required to. Now it's going to be when you do your pay run. So if you're paying your staff weekly, you'll be doing it weekly. If you're paying your staff, on a fortnightly, monthly. So the furthest you can push out your pay super is going to be monthly if you're paying your staff on a monthly frequency. The second new concept that is called the qualifying earnings form the basis of the super payments where the super guarantee is required. And this will be reported from a single touch payroll point of view, allowing the ATO to cross-check the payments are actually reaching the funds on time. And the third one, obviously with all these changes and the ability to track this more, there is stronger, compliance penalties. So they've introduced to support the adoption of these changes. So it's really important that we do just try and give you the best advice that we can and help you on how you use the software. And if you need further advice on how to get this, then maybe talk to your accountant, your tax accountant, to help you with that. Okay. If you're new to these sessions, or we've got a fair few people that are joining these sessions on a regular basis. These sessions are all about how do we help you get more out of Acumatica, okay? Out of your Acumatica system from what's within the software, and also, sometimes looking at some external independent software vendors. So if you're new to these sessions, we host them on the 3rd week of every month. And sometimes we try and bring in different topics that obviously generate a lot of interest with you guys as our key users. And yeah, that they're free of charge. It's for you. We didn't host one last month, so if you do want to go back and have a look at any of these sessions that we've hosted before, you can go on our website, and you will see on our website there's a section for resources, and you can look at all the previous webinars that we've hosted. We didn't host one last month because MYOB actually did have their MYOB Discover session online, and they also did have a online Discover in Perth as well. They will be continuing with that format as well next year, having a full day session for clients to come and hear everything about MYOB. Okay, so today I'm your host as normal, and fortunately and some of you may have had the joy of working with Anish in the past. Anish is one of our ERP consultants that does mainly the implementations of MYOB Acumatica. So Anish is going to take us through. He's got this huge passion for payroll and compliance. He loves anything to do with compliance. So Anish is going to be taking us through a lot of the legislative sort of stuff that we need to be aware of today. All right, so as mentioned before, there is some poll questions that I put up earlier that I was just hoping that everyone would be able to go through and answer, just to try and kick off a little bit around what you're feeling about Payday Super and payroll and all that sort of stuff. So let's just go through those results. All right, so in regards to how do I feel about Payday Super, here is the results. That's what I was looking for a little bit earlier. But the results are that somewhat confident. So there's no one that's very confident. There's a few still figuring it out, which is fine. Well, that's what we're trying to hear. We're here today to try and help with. So that's good. Everyone's sort of in the same boat. What do you think will be the biggest challenge with Payday Super? Timing of payroll processing. System and process changes was the next highest vote. I was surprised. I thought cash flow management might have been one up there. It might have been a little bit of a talking point, but that's fine. We can talk through that a little bit later. How are you currently processing PaySuper? No one's doing it same day as when they're doing the payroll. They're doing weekly batches, monthly, or whenever finance reminds me. What is your first reaction to Payday Super? I think I heard a lot of people go, far out, not another bloody change for the ATO, but yeah. I didn't put that as the poll question or the poll answer there. But yeah, most people just neutral, just another compliance change. It's no biggie. And we're pretty sort of across the board, mostly ready, started preparation, haven't started yet. So, you know, that's pretty equal across the board of how ready the readiness of PaySuper. Hopefully by today, you guys will just be bang. It's just part of the workflow. Which area do you want most help with MYOB Acumatica? So, and this is the thing, like, you know, you guys, like, if you want to engage with Anish or any of the other guys about your payroll and so on, as I say, Anish is like one of our payroll gurus at AlphaBiz here. So, you know, if you ever want to, you know, just do like a bit of a refresher of payroll and all that sort of stuff, because there's also been a lot of changes over the years. There is actually a dedicated reporting area now on payroll, separating out all the payroll reporting functions out to its own workspace. So if you need some more refresher training, let's organise that with Anish. Typically, a payroll session would be about 4 hours with Anish, and we can do that in our office. What is your biggest payroll pain point today? So manual processes. And as I say, one of the things that we can do in those training sessions, if you do want to sit down with Anish or one of the members in the team, is they can actually do a full review of trying to remove some of these manual processes for you. Even things like automated timesheets, ESS, so employee self-service, so setting that up for your employees to do all their leave requests and so on through a mobile app. We can get that sorted out for you as well. Fun one. What describes your relationship with payroll deadlines? Everyone was pretty much across the board, always ahead of schedule. We get there eventually. Controlled chaos. Love controlled chaos. And don't ask. We didn't have anyone saying don't ask. Yeah, which is good to see. All right, so MYOB Acumatica Payroll, the Payday Super compliance changes. This is obviously the biggest thing. Just a bit of housekeeping as well. The floor is open. You know, when I said to Anish, you've got 45 minutes to present on this topic, he freaked out and said, I think I could probably knock this over in 5-10 minutes. So any questions or queries that you have, please come off mute. You do have the ability to come off mute. Hopefully Kenneth has sorted that out for anyone that was on the call. But yes, Ken, you know, come off mute or put them in the question, put them in the chat or the Q&A section, and we can come and answer those. These sessions are about being informative, and we also love it when people interact. So please interact. After this presentation, we will send out a follow-up email with the slides, just so that you can go back through those at your own leisure, and also a lot of links to things. And I think we have been sending out on the invites around the ATO important links you should be reading up on. And also at the end of this session, we do send out a survey. So if you can respond to that survey, that'd be much appreciated, just to get our feedback. I mean, these events, they continue to grow with how many people attend those. So obviously we are doing something right. All right, so I'm going to hand over to the Anish, the man that I've spoken about so much.
All right. Thank you, Adam. I see a few familiar faces there, familiar names there. That's good. So yeah, let's kick this off. And yeah, as Adam said, just ask questions if you've got any questions. And also our support team is here to help as well after the session. All right. So what is changing? Super Pay is getting go to PaySuper every pay run. So no more quarterly payments. And the deadline is 7 days after the Payday Super's payday. So whenever it's whether it's fortnightly, quarterly, or monthly. There's going to be severe penalties for this. So now they're going to monitor it through the STP. So we will keep on harping about this on the next slides. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, so the changes are coming from the 1st of July 2026, replacing the quarterly payments. And MYOB Acumatica obviously is gearing up for that as well. What is the objective of this? From the ATO's point of view, it's more about transparency and making sure people are getting paid their super. As you know, like sometimes on the ATO sites, they are holding these super funds, like there's like millions and trillions of dollars sitting there, which they cannot allocate to anybody. So the technology is sort of helping them with this. So with the STP submission, they are now getting more stricter on this. What is the impact? So it's good for the employee. They're getting their super paid quicker. They are getting their returns quicker, and their pot is growing for their retirement. So when they retire, they can enjoy life, I guess, by their bots, and hopefully the markets stay stable.
Oh, hopefully the cost of living, like all this money going into their super funds earlier, might help with a little bit of that cost of living in the future.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Okay. So what is MYOB doing in the background? So they're deploying an upgrade. So they will see either version 2025 or 2025.2. And these upgrades are happening as we speak for some of the clients.
Yes. I was going to say Avishka and Yusuf have been working pretty solidly on some of our clients have probably already been upgraded to 2025.1. And then we do have some of our clients that are upgrading shortly onto 2025.2. So that they're all happening at the moment. If you're not sure how to tell which version you're on, any screen that you're in, the top right hand corner, there's the tools button, and if you click on that, it'll go down to about. And it'll show you what version you're on. So that's there.
Yeah. All right. And you would have also, as soon as you log in, sometimes you get a in product notification as well that your site is due for upgrade. You can just acknowledge that as well, but just keep a note of those date and times as well. And also our support team will be sending emails as well when the upgrade is due. Another thing to keep eye out is obviously you will get a sandbox if you've got customization on your payroll to test it. But most of us, we don't have customizations, but just in case. Okay, next slide.
Yeah, I'd say probably on the customizations in payroll, we try and avoid any customizations because of the frequency of these sort of compliance changes. So it's an area that we try and avoid customizing if we can. Cool. New payment frequencies. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, oops. Right. So, as we said before, so super must be paid in every pay run, and within 7 business days. There's an exception to this rule. So if it's a new employee or the employee's fund has changed, you've got 20 business days to pay that super. And quarterly super payments are no longer compliant, and that is not valid anymore.
So you can't just turn your employees into make them get paid on a quarterly basis.
No, you can't pay your employees quarterly. They won't be able to pay their mortgages. Yeah. And what does this impact? What is this impact on our business? Obviously, we've got to obviously make sure we have enough funds in the bank, because now we are sort of paying it every parent, so it's a big impact depending on our super payroll. And it becomes a real-time obligation, just like paying your net wages to your employees. And we need to make sure that our bank cutoffs are also within the business days, so quicker processing of those payments. And all the processes are aligned. Okay.
This one's probably a good one to call out, just to be aware of that cash flow impact that you're going to have in the transition. Obviously, you're going to have the potential the residual quarter to pay for April to June, but then you're going to have to, your live payments when you first, as any payments made in July, you're going to have to obviously do the super contributions for that pay run as well.
Yeah, so this one is very important, that in terms of the business cash flow, some of us wouldn't have that much cash probably lying around. So we just need to bear in mind that you will have your April to June to pay in July, and then the July pay run that you do either weekly or fortnightly, that you have that cash to pay the super. So a bit of planning is probably needed. But for the first month in July, ATO will not come hard on us as a business, because they would understand this as well. But from August onwards, the compliance will kick in would be very risky. So we just need to bear that in mind. But if we get the process in earlier, then we are sort of geared up for the next cycle.
Excellent.
Next one. Okay, so what we have said so far? So Acumatica's payroll processing is still the same. So if you're using the MYOB Super service, you can still use that service. And if you're using the SEF file, it's still configured to use the SEF file. And what do we need to do in terms of our businesses and in terms of our internal processes? So we need to decide, when are we going to be paying this super? Is it as soon as we do the super, we incorporate the super batch payment process at the same time, so then it's out of the way and done and dusted. We need to ensure that obviously bank, as you said, bank account has got the funds to pay the super. And also review our internal process in terms of the approvers. So if you've got 2 approvers, we need to make sure that the approvers are there to approve, or if you've got any contingency, if one of the approvers is sick, how do we go around having another third approver maybe, or we can, Yeah,
and that's probably just, I mean, in regards to the approvers and all that sort of stuff that you have at the moment, nothing changes there. What's set up is going to continue to work. But given that the frequency is going to be far, obviously a lot greater than what you do today, it might be, making sure that you have, maybe the other director also needs to be added as an approver now, in case you're going to be away on leave.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh, this is the little bit scary one for businesses.
Yeah, this is the scary one, especially for like small businesses and medium businesses, where the cash flow can be a bit tight. So we'll go to the next slide.
Yeah.
So now the underpayment of wages or super underpayment is now a criminal offense. So we just need to be careful of this. And the penalties will apply much quicker because of the STP. We're submitting the payroll and the qualified earnings data with the STP, and ATO is checking, and with their technology now, is getting much smarter and quicker. So we just need to be aware of this.
It's a criminal offence for the business owner, yeah?
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
No one wants a white collar holiday.
Yeah.
So
Right. Next slide.
cool.
Yeah, so like we've just been saying, we just need to take reasonable care when we're doing these processes, and just be aware of our processes, and we stick to those processes, so we are paying the super, the taxes and everything on time.
So how the
Yeah.
risk, this is probably a good thing, just how the risk is calculated essentially by the ATO.
Yes, so this is the general sort of view. So even in the when you're doing your BAS and stuff, there's like if you've made genuine attempt to rectify something and you proactively done it with the ATO, then you probably come in the low risk category, and they will sort of be lenient on that side. But obviously, high risk is where we've not done anything about it, even though they've sent um, emails or phone calls or letters and we've not acted on it, then that obviously becomes high risk and the penalties and actions become more severe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, next slide. So how does this PaySuper processing time work? So if you're using MYOB Super service or even the SEF file, you upload that as soon as you've done your pays, you run the super batch, and it's approved by the authorizer. So that's business day 01, and the super will show the category as approved and pending processing. Then it goes to the super clearinghouse, and they're going to match the data on day 1, and then there's clearance happening in the background from day 2 to 4, and they send the super on between 4 to 7 days to the relevant super fund of the employee, and the status becomes paid. So there's no change really in terms of this.
No, there's no change really.
Yeah. So what do we need to do to get ready for this? We need to make sure all our employees in Acumatica have got their correct fund names, fund USI names and member numbers. And if we have had any rejections or errors before, make sure we have rectified those errors. And any super fund that was rejected as well, maybe the member number was wrong, or there was some error in that part, then we need to rectify those. In terms of our internal processes in the business, we need to make sure all our employee super data is up to date. And again, as we said, any rejections or errors, we need to resolve those. So we can help you with that if you had any errors. And we need to ensure our payroll, who is doing the payroll, are all aware of these errors and rejections, and we can clear them off.
One of the biggest, you've got Dean here, one of the biggest errors we've come across is when staff don't notify us that they've changed their super fund. So that's something you've got to really watch out for. We got caught out last year. It was about 5 months later. We suddenly got this stuff bouncing back, and it didn't match the payments we'd made because the clearinghouse put it back in bulk rather than matching the payments, and we didn't even know what employer it belonged to because they changed didn't know who it belonged to, and that took a while to sort out until someone suddenly saw the total matched this specific employee. So keep an eye on people changing their super funds and make sure your employees are aware that they need to notify you.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Call out.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So employees need to notify us. Yeah. Next slide.
All right. Any other questions or queries as we've been going through it all before we go into the next part? So in the chat. There was from John, checking. There's just one from John. He says, my version is completely different. It's 2025.101.403.1445. That's all good, John. That is 2025. The main reference we're looking for changes like of this nature is the 2025.1. Okay. Those other version numbers that come after any any other digits that come after that are typically to do with like bug fixes or other releases that have been released into your software that aren't major changes. So you are on a version that will have you ready for the Payday Super. Hope that answers your question. Yep, said thank you. All right, cool. Any other questions? Be more than happy for you to jump off mute, ask us, or put them in the chat. But we'll move on to this new term, qualifying earnings. I had to double check a couple of times the meaning of this and make sure that we were saying it correctly. It's not qualified earnings; it's qualifying earnings, which was we did a bit of sanity checking first thing this morning, didn't we?
Yeah.
All right, so qualifying earnings.
Yes. So now they're calling it qualifying earnings. They replaced it with the ordinary time earnings. It's still the same. It's just probably a hyped up version of the name, we could call it, or like pimp my ride kind of thing. It still has the same, but it's a bit expanded. It's got the salary sacrifice also included now. And other salary liable payments, bonuses and commissions, and also there's payments to contractors, mainly for the labor. So if you're unsure about this, you should probably get some advice on that. But this is what qualifying earnings is now. So the impact of this is that we just we all need the payroll teams to understand what is included in the qualified earnings, and there's a lot of information available on the ATO website as well. We can share the link as well if you don't have it, but also get professional advice if there is any sort of things that we cannot answer. OC, because we are not tax professionals. We just, as Adam said, we are just here to guide you in how Acumatica works and how it's going to be configured for this new qualified earnings.
One of the things you need to watch for, it's Dean again, sorry. One of the things you need to watch out for is allowances. So whether it be meal allowances, travel allowances, some people will often confuse that as a standard income. And my understanding is it sits outside of that. It's not part of qualifying earnings. But again, as you said, that's talk to your right guys that look after you. But just something to note that you may not have realised.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
we do have another question on the chat, Anish, before we just move on. I think it was from Emily. How do I know whether my auto super batch is turned on?
Auto super batch. It should be on your super settings in the payroll preferences. There's super settings. If you got MYOB super service, we can check that. If you want to just lodge a case with us, and we will have a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So action required in MYOB Acumatica, and we will go through some screenshots a little bit later, just showing this. But yeah, let's kick into this. So
yeah. So yeah, these screenshots I will share at the end. But we're just going through the through what has changed and just give a bit of background as to the the ATO guidance. So yeah, what has changed in MYOB Acumatica? They've introduced a new column called liable for qualifying earnings, which we need to tick in the pay item liability screen. So we just need to do some housekeeping in terms of reviewing all the pay items in the pay item liability screen. Make sure liable, if you got a liable for super guarantee ticked, you need to have liable for qualified earnings ticked. So that should match. When they upgrade the site, by default they will be ticked, but we just for housekeeping and just to make sure everything is correct, once it's upgraded, we just need to go and check it again. Okay. Next slide.
Do you have one more question? So this is Emma from Emma Flynn. So she's just asked, we use PaySuper for our clearinghouse. However, PaySuper platform often shows errors after payment is completed. Their error shows on the PaySuper, however, the monies have actually gone through the employees' accounts. Is there a better clearinghouse to use?
Oh, I mean, there's quite a few out there. The most common one we have found people use is Australian Super. That's the biggest one, I think. There's CBUS as well has a clearinghouse. So there's a couple of them out there. You could try using those and see how you go.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, one of the issues, the option would be to obviously use the MYOB clearinghouse, but Emma does have, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. They've got 2 entities that they're paying from at the moment. So, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Cool. All right, next slide. Maximum contribution base. What's this mean?
So this is mainly
do you fall in this category, Anish, or?
I barely make it to the low income earner as well. So
don't mind him. He is paid very well.
Yeah, I've got my Lamborghini parked outside. Yeah,
racing stripes on it.
Adam's got 2 actually.
I'm gonna beat that old full drive, mate.
Yeah. So this is just the maximum contribution cap that was used to be quarterly. Now it's annual cap, and this will be updated as well by MYOB from 1st of July. I think it's gone up to 260. I think it was 250 or 260. And that will be automatically updated. So if you've got any high income earners, then it will update itself. Okay, so let's go next slide.
Okay, so the readiness checklist for Payday Super.
Yeah. So far what we have discussed. So you need to review your cash flow, make sure we've got enough money to pay this super, obviously in July, the first payments, and make sure we do come up through a internal process as to how you're going to handle this in terms of whether you're going to do it when you are processing the pay. Also review the ATO site, just familiarize yourself with what is qualified earnings, and make sure it's all configured correctly in MYOB Acumatica.
Yeah. And
obviously the super fund details are correct for the employees as well.
Yeah. Obviously be aware of the new penalties and non-compliance side of things as well. And and the next one I don't think anyone would be on here, but I'll stay standard correct. No one's using the small business super clearinghouse because that is being turned off 1st of July. If anyone is still using that, you're gonna have to find an alternative, which will probably be using the PaySuper that we can get you set up. But yeah. That I don't think we've got anyone that's using the small business clearinghouse on this call.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, and then it's probably understanding this new concept of qualifying earnings. So once the upgrades taken to 2025, is making sure you're going through and checking those are actually correct in the system. I think we looked at one site today that hadn't been updated yet.
Yeah, for some reason it wasn't updated or it was unticked. We need to find that out, but yeah, but it should come through.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so just a comparison as to what was happening up to 30th of June 2026 and what's going to happen from 1st of July. So payment timing is we used to pay quarterly, but now it's going to be on payday, so received within 7 days. Calculation was 12% on ordinary time earnings. Now it's 12% of the qualified earnings. Reporting was, so it was reporting on ordinary time earnings, but now it's going to be reporting the qualified earnings and the super liability. So then ATO is checking that as well. We will share the screenshot. You will see how it's sort of reporting now. So late payment again, it's stricter penalties now. Before it was, we could self-assess. So if you realize you're not paid this, and then you had to fill in a form, and then there was a bit of penalty and interest on that form. And the contribution base is from quarterly, it's gone annually. Okay, next.
Okay, so there's obviously two ways that you can be able to use it from the software itself. Is obviously there's the SAF file, which is where you obviously use the SAF file. You can still continue to use the SAF file, download that and upload that into your clearinghouse, or you can use the MYOB PaySuper, where MYOB direct debit your bank account and obviously disperse the funds to the relevant super funds. That's those two options are still there. Nothing changes on how you do it today. One thing that's coming, so not in 2025.2, it's actually coming into 2026.1. That MYOB are working at the moment. It was just they were trying to bring it into 2025.2, which meant that clients that are paying multiple entities, so having payroll for multiple entities. At the moment, they can either use the PaySuper for one of their entities and use the SAF file for the other, or just use SAF files for all entities. So it's just one process. That whole being able to use PaySuper to do multiple entities is coming in 2026.1. They were hoping, as they trying to bring it into 2025 too, but there's been so many changes back and forth and to get this ready for the ATO, that they're just not able to bring it into that early.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
We just had, when is 2026.1 being released? It is probably going to be released towards the end of this year and go into early testing to what they call early adopter program. So if you do want to jump on the EAP for 2026.1, I'll be able to bring you on that journey.
Okay.
Any other questions before we move on? No. Okay. Cool. So this is the processing options for SAF. Nothing changes?
Nothing changes. It's still the same. So we just put it in there. And also, so next slide also for the MYOB Super service, nothing changes really. It's still the same. But we need to just be aware of the authorizing of the batch, so we can't have delays on that end, otherwise it delays obviously our super payments. Okay, all right. So how does it look like in MYOB Acumatica now? So let's go to the next screen. So this is where you need to review your pay item liabilities. They've introduced that new column, liable for qualifying earnings. And that if you got the liable for super guarantee tick the previous column, you just tick the liable for qualified earnings. That's if make it as simple as possible, that has to be ticked if the liable for super guarantee is ticked. So then everything will match in your GL, and when you make the payment, it all matches, and your STP matches with your GL accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the screen. So the pay item liability screen is where you need to go to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
So in terms of your payroll, nothing has changed. You process your pay as normal as what you're doing right now. Submit your single touch payroll. Yeah, and then next slide. So when you come to do your batch payment, there is usually a button there to see the STP batch. You can click on that STP batch, and then it opens up your STP batch. So as we were saying before, now there's a new tab there in your STP batch called Superannuation. And see at the bottom there, now you can see the type. The type Q means those qualified earnings. So basically whatever you have ticked as a pay item as qualified earnings, that is the gross wage, the 14,166, let's say, for example. And the type L is the super payment on that. So 12% of that 14 is 1,700. So that is how ATO is now tracking on whether the super is getting paid on all the qualified earnings.
Type R is?
Type I is, I think, was a salary sacrifice. We didn't get a clarification on that one. I think it's salary sacrifice. Okay, so how does our super batch, how do we create a super batch? So previously we obviously was quarterly, so we used to put a period or a date, but now we'll put a parent, so we from parent to parent, and the super batch obviously populates as normal. So go to the next one. So what if we have adjusted some pays? So there's a better scenario for those adjustments. So there's in your super batch, when you say from parent X to parent X, you can go to the adjustment contributions tab, and you just click on the negative one and the positive one. So the negative one is obviously what you've adjusted, and the positive one is the new parent that you did for that employee. So the difference, you can pick up the difference. Even if it's for the previous parent that you adjusted, you can come into the adjusted contributions and pay the difference with the current contributions that you're paying. If that makes sense.
Any questions on that one?
So after you've done that, you can even validate the super fund. So that's currently there as well. So it will check whether the employee super fund is correct and the member number is as per. There are some rules in the background that MYOB have that it will validate with that. If the member number is wrong, or the super fund is probably migrated, or something's not quite right, then it will flag an error, and we can have a look at that and see what's going on. Okay. So the submit of payment, and if you're using the MYOB Super service, it's not changed at all. So you just submit the payment, and then the authorizers will come here and log in and put their code that they get on the phone and authorize that super batch for payment.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, so that's the code there, and then authorize the payment. Okay,
Cool.
that's it.
That's it. Yeah, any questions?
Any questions?
Yeah, we got one, so you can come off mute if you want to ask your question. Is it Lafa?
Yes, that's me. Just wondering, we normally, for example, for this fortnight on the 20th, the pay period finishes on the 22nd of May, but the payment will be released on the following week, which is Tuesday. So basically the payment comes out of the bank to the staff on Tuesday, while the pay period ends by this Friday, 22nd of May. So when we have to pay the super, is that the amount that got released from the bank, or the how that be considered by the ATO?
That will be based on when you're submitting the STP submission. So as soon as you're running it,
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Yep.
it's not based on, when you're paying the employees.
When you're actually paying the employee, submitting the ATO pay period
Yeah.
end. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So so from 7 days from then, right?
Yes. Yeah. That's why it needs to be incorporated in when you're probably processing the pay. That's what I would recommend doing. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No worries.
All right. Any other questions while we're waiting? Open the floor up. Raise your hand. Put your question in the chat. Q&A if you really want to put it in the Q&A, and I'm going to check over there. We've got Emma. Just come off mute, Emma. How are you?
I'm good.
Hello,
Just in
Emma.
relation, hey, how are you going? Just in relation to being able to edit the positive and negative figures when you're submitting doing your super batch.
Mhm.
If you're changing the figure from from a previous pay run,
Mhm.
is there a penalty on that?
No, it's an adjustment, so that there won't be a penalty on that. That's what they've said. Yeah.
Okay, so how long is the adjustment period? For example, if you realized after 3 months that you were making an error and, then you did an adjustment 3 months later, are they happy that you've made an adjustment, or might they come back saying, oh, we're going to penalize you because you didn't do it?
That's really not clarified actually in the rules, but waiting, do you have scenarios like those for that long?
No, I don't. But like, God
Yeah.
forbid, if somebody mentioned,
Yeah.
like somebody mentioned about, an employer giving the incorrect super details. I know this should eliminate it. But it's just a scenario if we didn't select the right, quality, the right earnings on, our pay item liabilities. There might be just some errors in the beginning period, in the starting period of doing this system, doing this new process, that people might, forget some things.
Yeah, I'd say probably because you're going to be doing it more frequently, you're going to be obviously, because you are going to be doing it as per every pay run, you're going to identify any pay issue, any of these adjustments earlier rather than later.
Mm.
I think that'd be the key point out there.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see.
I know you're always going to bring up the 10%, aren't you?
No, sorry, lads. Thanks.
I think most of the errors it's going to pick up would be in that area is more where you've realised a discrepancy on their actual pay. You may have underpaid because they didn't put in for some overtime, or you may have overpaid because they didn't work the overtime. And that's what could give the most of the adjustments. Hopefully within that first month, you would have picked up any of the ticks that haven't been put in the right spot. That the ATO is going to be a little bit lenient in August, and then the rest of that is purely going to be because of a payroll issue. Someone was on holidays when they weren't, or whatever.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, just while we're waiting as well, there is a QR code for feedback about this session. So, if you want to click on that, we'd love to hear any feedback as well. Do have another couple of questions. So, this is from Emily from Elan. My pay items liabilities do not have a column for QE. To qualifying earnings to select. Is this because the update is scheduled for 23rd of June? Yes, that is correct. Emily, if you're on 2024.2. whatever version, And as I say, you can have a look at that by clicking in the top right-hand corner of any screen, Tools, and then About, and you'll be able to see what version you are. If you're on that, not on a 2025 version, then you will not see those qualifying earnings or the super guarantee. All right. And then Dan Wang asked, adjustments is coming from void payment batch, right? If the supplementary pay is for the new pay run, right? Sorry, Dan, did you want to ask that question? Do you want to come off mute and ask that question to Anish directly?
Yeah, hi, Anish.
Hey.
Just for the one in the adjust the contribution, the plus and minus, that one is when you void the whole payment batch, and then they will be coming with a negative and a positive, right? If you're just doing additional, like if we're missing some people's hour, we just pay as a supplementary pay, and they will come into a new pay run, a separate new pay run, right?
No, the adjustment pay is you're adjusting the pay, not voiding any payments or batches. It's more about reversing and adjusting the pay.
Yeah, I think we got that on the screenshots there, but
Can be happened.
We can show you how that works. This adjustment. It's not adjusting any batches. It's more about adjusting the pay.
the total pay run.
Yeah, the pay run, or an employee's pay within that pay run. So you can do it in it's two ways. Yeah.
Okay. Did you want to look at that now, or?
We can look at it later if
Okay.
she's unsure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
This is the one of the first Unlock Acumatica sessions you've done for us, Anish. How'd you feel, mate?
A bit nervous.
Bit nervous?
Yeah.
Do you
That's
think?
good.
I think I might be nominating you. I don't know, maybe a raise of hands. I think he's done a pretty good job today. But maybe a raise of hands. Should we get Anish to help out with preparing for the financial year next webinar?
Absolutely.
Oh, there's more questions. Oh no, this is just all the raise of hands. Maybe use the love heart instead. React. Oh, there you go. Popular demand, Anish. I think you and I will be preparing again, and we'll prepare for end of financial year.
Yeah.
It's always easier when you've got Adam there keeping an eye to help you through things when you're getting used to it.
Yeah. Well, I think this is around about my 18th one that I've hosted. So since we started Unlock Acumatica sessions, believe it or not.
Well, that's when you had darker hair, wasn't it, when you first started?
Yeah. No, thanks for that, Dave.
So you're saying I'll get white hair soon then? I start hosting these.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. If there's no other questions or queries, we'll call this a close. But this session will be obviously posted once we clean it up a little bit. We post it on our website, and Ken, our marketing guy, will be sending it out for you to have a look at. So by all means, share amongst your team if need be, and then we'll go from there.
Thanks, gentlemen. Very much appreciated.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And if you've got any questions, feel free to email me or the support team, and we're happy to help.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good day.